40 years ago today, Kent played host to one of the biggest geopolitical events in the country's calendar. The signing of the Treaty of Canterbury modified the borders of the UK and France, allowing for the construction of the Channel Tunnel, but it also solidified the relationship between the two countries. And on the anniversary of the treaty, many important figures from Eurotunnel and beyond were in attendance to see the unveiling of the flagstone that would mark the occasion.
What I can say is the fact that it has been a magic connection between the two countries. In fact, you know that 500 million people traveled in the tunnel since the opening of the tunnel in 1994, 30 years ago. It's something which is incredible, amazing, and a very strong relationship, mainly between north of France and Kent.
The stone will be placed in the floor of Chapter House, and the assembled directors, MPs and ambassadors went on a tour of the cathedral, including meeting the stonemasons who carved the flagstone. Now, many medieval kings and queens who would have walked the halls of the cathedral hundreds of years ago would have had a very different relationship with France. But fast forward to the modern day, and that relationship is now being solidified and strengthened, looking back on this 40-year anniversary, this treaty that doesn't just create a physical link with the Channel Tunnel, but also an economic link and just a relationship between the two countries.
We're an island because we're surrounded by sea, but we've got a connection which is unbreakable. And I think that's really important, particularly in today's world, is to know that even if we have different views on politics, different views on the way that we organise things, that link is really solid. It's physical. It's not going anywhere.
During his speech, Jacques discussed the deep relationship between the two countries and the value that the Eurotunnel has brought, with 500 million passengers and £140 billion worth of trade over the years. He also brought up Brexit, and with that in mind, I wondered how the relationship between the countries would evolve over future anniversaries.
It would be amazing my constituency voted to remain. We're committed to being a really big part of Europe. It would be lovely to rejoin one day, but I'm not keeping my hopes up too high soon, for anything soon, but one day. And I think we continue to need those relationships. We're always in and out of each other's countries. I've got constituents that commute to work, on a daily, weekly basis. So it's still really, really important to us. And yes, that relationship is always going to be really special.
John added that in the future, as we may be celebrating the 50th or 100th anniversaries of the treaty, we could also start to see more links from England and specifically Kent to the rest of Europe. Macdiarmid for KMTV in Canterbury.